Call the meeting to order. I'm gonna call the meeting to order, and first item is approval of the agenda, and I believe we need to make at least one change. I think we need to delete the Historic Commission report because Clifford is not able to give that unless someone else would like to give a Historic Commission report. Do I have any other volunteers? All right, then we just need to remove item 6.
You don't want me to give it.
Were you there?
I was there, but I'm gonna pass on giving a report.
Okay. All right. Okay. Then, are there any other changes needed on the agenda? Okay, thank you. I think Greg Brett may join us. Robbie,
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
know if he's going to join us and try to help with the discussion about the safety and security in the park. Okay, good. So I'm going to try to make the meeting move along. I know Clifford has let me know he has got to leave by 7. And so I bet we can get this done by 7.
Okay.
So approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the agenda with the what do I say? The amended agenda?
Amended agenda.
I move that we approve the amended agenda.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. All right, so that passes unanimously. The next item is approval of the minutes from our last meeting on October 16th. Can I get a motion or any changes needed on that? Any discussion?
Mm-mm.
Okay, can I get a motion and a second to approve those excellent minutes that Dana always does for us?
Mhm. I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the last meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Okay, good. That passes unanimously. We have no presentations. First item of discussion is Campbellton Park update, and I'm going to give that. And so I got invited to meet Walt Ray of Trust for Public Land and Christine Hassel, who has been hired by Trust for Public Land to be the project manager. And they were marking trails and campsites at Campbellton Park. And so I was able to use what I learned 10 years ago when we started our first work in Cochrane Mill Park. We had Walt Brady, who was at the time the Georgia Educational Trails Specialist, come out and do a workshop for the volunteers and also the public works staff and the mayor and a few council members were in this. There were 23 in all. We took this class learning to build sustainable trails. And one of the main things we learned was you don't build it on the flat where the water can't go anywhere. And you'll always have muddy trails. You build it on the side of a hill so that the water can just run right off. And so I helped, I advised Walt and Christine that that's what we should do. And that's what they did. And so they placed flags at Campbellton Park along the trail. And actually it's a loop trail that's on 2 levels. There's a natural terrace there, or actually it's probably not natural, it's probably man-made long ago, but anyway, there's a terrace and so up high. And so the part of the trail is on that and then part down below. Both should be well out of the floodplain. And where they selected to put the campsites, they put a white flag and a pink flag together. So you can go out there if you want to look at that. They marked where the pavilion will be, which is exactly where we designated it in the master plan that we did for Campbellton Park. And the next step is that they will give that information to surveyors who will go out there and make a plat of the property. They also recorded the GPS location of all those markers, and the surveyors will receive that. And then the plat will be used to make a site plan and rendering that will be submitted to obtain the permits necessary to begin the work. And so they will need a review from the Metropolitan River Protection Act, MERPA. Anything within 2,000 feet of the Chattahoochee River has to be reviewed and approved. And that is definitely within the 2,000 feet. They will need a permit from Fulton County to build a restroom. They'll need a permit from the city of Chattahoochee Hills to build that restroom and pavilion. They will need a permit. Well, I think they won't need this at Campbellton, but at Riverlands, they'll need permits for the boat ramp. So that will be obtained from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And also they'll need a stream buffer variance to build the boat launch. It's not a ramp, it's a launch. From the Georgia EPD, Environmental Protection Division. So there's lots of work getting those permits, and they've hired Pond and Company, who is the same company that came out and helped us with the community input for the master plan. They will be getting the permits. They have experience doing that. And so things are moving right along. They've hired the surveyors, and the surveyors will go out and they're interviewing architects. They're hiring an architect to design the pavilion and the restroom. They want it to be special and very nice. The pavilion at Campbellton Park will be, as I said, where we designated the master plan. And then the one at Riverlands Park will be where we met. For those of you who were able to come to the community event, Daryl had mowed a trail right to this overlook. And that's where that pavilion will be located. And so that's my report on Campbellton, and it pretty much covers the report on Riverlands Park as well. But while we're on Riverlands Park, let me say that they very wisely asked Daryl to come out and help them at Riverlands Park. They knew that he knew the land well because he has been maintaining it as long as the city's had it. And he knows, you know, at one point there was a ferry there, Varner Ferry, across the river there. So there had to be a way for a road to get down to that river for the ferry crossing. And it would be natural for us to use something like that because MERPA, Metropolitan River Protection Act, is much more likely to approve just reusing something that was done long ago rather than creating something new. And so Daryl knew where that was, and he was able to show it to them. And Daryl, would you just tell them right now how you helped them with their plans?
Yes, ma'am. When Walt and Christine met out there, what we did is, like you said, there's a old logging trail that rode down that was, we kind of maintained it a little bit so it wouldn't get away with us, get away from us. So what we did, we kind of cut the trail and maintained it, and we marked it so there wouldn't be a very steep grade. So we kind of slid around a little bit and slid down where it would be wouldn't be a wash away. So what happened is Walt and all, we walked around, looked for the best place for the parking lot, and cleaned an area out. So look, really wasn't a lot to do because we maintained it, but it worked well with the plans and what we thought that should be good for erosion control. So we didn't have to do a lot of cleaning, a lot of clearing. So it worked very well when Walt and them come out.
So Daryl, thank you for helping them. And I'm really glad they realized that they needed Daryl's help. And so the deadline for completion for this project is July 1st, 2024. It's going to take 2 years. And they're going to spend almost $2 million on those two parks. More of the money will be spent at Riverlands because Riverlands still needs a boat launch, and Campbellton Park already has a boat ramp. So are there any questions about either of these two projects?
I want to just add too that just remember that when we met with Walt out there, he said that would take the permits for about a year for just a permit. So that way people have a timeline. We know what we're going to be doing. So it's going to take at least a year to get the permits.
Yeah. And the one that takes the longest, of course, is the one from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. So I guess the boat launch will be the last thing done. If they can get some of the other permits earlier, they may be able to start some of the other work.
Okay.
Diana, yeah, did you, when you guys walked and laid out the trails at Hamilton, did you use any of the trails that we had kind of referenced, you know, from the master plan?
I
Yes,
think
we did. Yes, we
I
did.
think-
Okay.
I
'cause
think
was
it's
curious.
close. Yeah, I think it's close to what we thought, but go out there and look. You can go look and see. What they were concerned about is how do you get people to the campsites? And so
Right.
they were looking for logical places to put campsites. I think they did 8 to 10 campsites.
Mhm.
And so the trails just sort of had to go to the campsites.
Okay, and then the pavilion is gonna be where we all talked about it that day. We were out
Yes,
there.
and that is, in case someone doesn't remember, that is, it's right where the exit from the
Mhm.
parking lot meets Cochrane Road,
Oh, okay.
right there in that corner. And that's a place, according to the old maps, there was once a house there. And so we're pretty sure that's out of the floodplain, and that would be a convenient place to have that right at the entrance. They're going to try to have a handicap parking space or two there, and maybe even a handicap campsite close to the
Oh, that's
pavilion.
great. Was there still any talk of getting a caretaker's tent site or camper site there?
I
for
think
a-
that's up to the city to decide whether or not we want that. And I don't
Somebody
know.
just to be there, whether you do that, that we talked about a retiree, somebody, those folks that do that year round at different campsites and they kind of just maintain it. I didn't know. So anyway, that's all.
I have a couple to add to that. That we did move down the access road. We're not going to use where the original driveway that goes into the house, to the Beaver's house. I mean, not the Beaver's house, but the old we call it the 70th house.
Yeah.
We moved it down a little bit for safety. If you stand in that road, the original road, and look to the left or to the north, you notice there's kind of the road has a rise into it. So we decided to move it south a little bit, pretty much in the dead center from right to left. That way it'd be more safe to get back and on and off the road. And also that it's easier for them to get permits from the state if we use original trails that's already there. So that's why we tried to use some of the original trails that was there, just try to use that. So it makes it a whole lot faster.
Okay. So there's still potential to add on to the trails that are there to take you up to the Beaver's house eventually, because that was originally what
Certainly, yes. And they talked about whether to use that one is like an old road that's there, but I don't think they're planning to use that because it's so steep. It's really not.
I think on the master plan, we had kind of a switchback that went up to the house.
That's
So
what you would need.
if it connects to it eventually
Yeah.
for a
And
walking.
if the city decides they do want a caretaker up there, then they probably would need that access for sure.
Cool.
Other questions, comments? Okay, that takes care of my part. Next out on the list is parking safety and security at Cochrane Mill Park with Robbie. Robbie, do you want to wait a little while and see if Greg joins us, or should we go ahead?
I think we should go ahead. I'm not confident that he would be on the line. He is very tied up right now. I don't know if you know, he is working at Imagine Fest that is now in Rome, not as a city employee, but as a private contractor outside the city.
Oh, okay.
You remember it came here and it got rained out, and they are continuing on, but it's up in Rome. So if you want to go to one of those music festivals that's going on this coming weekend, we get you some tickets.
It's like Anthony Hop or something.
It's a lot of something. That EDM music, Daryl probably can explain it better than I can. But yeah, anyway, he's pretty much out of pocket, and but I can talk. Daryl and I can talk a little bit to what we're going through right now.
All right.
But well, as you know, I mean, Cochrane Mill Park is a huge park. It's very well used by a lot of people. The flip side of that, it's used by a lot of people who are not, avid hikers. In fact, some of them probably just have trouble finding their way out of the parking lot, let alone, finding a way back to their car. So a lot of folks just get lost, and it's easy to get lost, by the way. You get off trail and such, and the issue is they might leave, 2, 3 afternoon, maybe noon, but they get so far back, time gets away from them, and then it starts getting dark, and it gets a little scary for them, and so they tend to get lost, and they'll call 911, and we have to send rescue out. So we're trying to figure out some ways. Greg and Jim and I are talking about different ways we can communicate with the folks, whether it's signage. I know where the trail markings help a lot in locating them, by the way, and the trail markers that Roland's doing and Greg's doing out there, and even Greg's daughter Chloe's been helping. But we just need a way to communicate with folks, and even though, look, my concern is we've had firefighters actually get injured going in there and rescuing people, and they get injured, they go out on workers' comp, they no longer can work. They're receiving workers' comp because they did their job. They're rescuing somebody that was just way deep in there, probably didn't need to be back there, and carrying them out and up and down that rough terrain, and they get injured. So I'm looking out for the employees. So it was kind of a knee-jerk reaction, but it wasn't. That's why I bring it to the Parks Commission, is those that end up getting lost, that make poor choices, that go in there after dark, because sometimes they'll come out and their cars, if they do make it out, we lock the gates, as you know. We lock the gates at dusk, and they might come back 30 minutes after dusk. And we've had that happen where people come. Yesterday, a person came to the police department and was upset because he got a ticket, and he was there. He was locked in. He had to call to get out because he was locked in, and we kept the ticket. Sorry, you went in there after dark, and that's what we're doing. We're enforcing these rules. And I even got to the point where I want to criminal trespass people that cause our public safety to respond and put themselves in danger because they made a poor choice to go in there right at dusk or right before dusk, or not using common sense, and just say, I'm sorry, you're criminal trespass from our park for 1 year. And I've done that in other cities before where they're just criminal trespass. You can't come back. It's not something that goes on their record. It's just basically it's a sanction. So I was going to run that by the Parks Commission. Also get some feedback from you guys. What do you think we should do to better address the issue of people getting lost? Because it happens 2, 3, 4 times a month, and it seems to happen on weekends. And on Sunday night, Greg's out there in the park at midnight retrieving people. So that's what we want.
Robbie, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
You did allude at one point to people wandering off trail. How much, roughly, what percentage of these cases involves people on trails but not knowing where they are versus wandering off trail? And I guess along with that, are we doing enough to tell people to stay on the trails? How effectively are we communicating that? Would that help at all? I don't know, but is that part of the problem?
Yeah, that would help a lot. I mean, as far as to answer your question, I can't give you a percentage of folks, but typically, they get back there usually toward Henry Mill Falls, and our public safety professionals have to go in on private property because it takes too long for them to go 6-7 miles back in there. So they'll come in from a different angle because they know where they're lost. Greg's so good, he'll geolocate them. They'll drop a pin, he can locate them, but just getting to them takes a while. And I say they get off the trail, not initially. They're following the trail to get to their destination, but then when they're coming back, it could be dark or limited visibility. Puts them in a very precarious position where they do go off trail, not intentionally, but they go off trail because it's just limited visibility.
I have a comment on that, Rob. You brought up several things here, and I think there's really, from my perspective, there's not one solution that's going to blanket everything because every situation is different. You have some people just mistakenly do it. Should they get the same penalty as someone that deliberately chose to go out there at 10 minutes before dark and kind of get lost? So that is a tough, vicarious situation. That you have done that at other part. What has been success in that? Has it been a lot of pushback on it, or was it successfully implemented?
It was so rare, Chris, that would ever happen, though. It was just, we didn't get pushback because, like you said, usually the folks, it was not negligent. It was the people that went back there and they were engaged in activity anyway. Okay. That were nefarious activity. They're going in after dark, maybe to engage in drinking. So there's other things that were associated with it. It wasn't like you said, like the innocent folks are just, it was just, hey, they didn't know, it was negligence. Of course, the law reads, and pretty much everything we do as citizens of the United States is, and this is a key phrase, or should have known. Mm-hmm. And that's where we all get in trouble. If you're walking through a Walmart with somebody and your buddy is shoplifting and you know about it, you're going to get arrested for shoplifting too, even though you didn't steal it, because you knew or should have known that was breaking the law. And that's how the law reads. So they should have known they put it, but police officers are not going to. I mean, they err on the side of people. They don't really
Right.
go, and we do, give warnings on not criminal trespass. We haven't done that yet, but if somebody's in a parking lot afterward, and it's just they have the right attitude, they're lost. But one thing that's scary is we did have one person that was upset because she was issued a citation on her car because it was parked there after hours and locked, and she goes, what if I was lost? I mean, does anybody care? Well, here's the deal. Police officers actually go back and they check. I don't know if it's every hour, but every so often they check and see if that car is there, because they want to make sure maybe it broke down or maybe they left with somebody else and such, because they can't go in and just say, all right, I'm going to go in and check 800 acres of park. But they do a cursory search. They go down to the falls, because that's where a lot of people gravitate to, make sure that they're not down there, and they kind of just walk around and take a look. But they don't go deep into the trails because it's a big park. They're not going to find somebody. But they do come back and check that car and see if it's still there, because look, if there's a car parked there and it's 1 o'clock in the morning, there's probably a good chance that person may still be in the park lost, but you don't know until we get a phone call.
So do we need to do a better job of publicizing the fact that people are going to get a ticket if their car is there after, I would say after sunset? Dusk is sort of vague, but sunset is a definite time. I mean, I can find it every day. I can find when sunset is, and they can't argue that was sunset.
Well, there are
Well,
signs all over the place that does say park is closed after. I thought it said park is closed after dark. So, and there's the fine thing is there too. There's a fine for that, right? It's posted as well, isn't that?
I guess I just want to make sure that we're not talking about two different topics on the same topic. Are we talking about cars parked after dark, or are we talking about people lost in the park?
Well,
We're talking two separate situations in case somebody rode their bike down that way, or whatever the case might have been.
and that's happened. I mean, people ride the trail and leave their car parked at, in the
Correct.
park.
That's the reason why I say I want to make sure that we're talking about the same solution to the same problem. Are we talking about cars parked out of the dark, or are we talking about people being lost in the park?
Well, I think
Sorry, go ahead, Dor. We're not talking about cars parked in. We're just associating the fact that the car has an owner and the car is in the park, or the owner's in the park somewhere, either hiking or cycling or something like that. But
one thing that comes to mind, and I think we actually just came up this debate over dark versus, or not debate, but discussion of dark versus sunset. It's a moving target, and if you're an occasional hiker that doesn't spend a lot of time outdoors, you might have no clue how long it is till dark, and you might not bother to check. I'm not defending stupidity here, but I'm recognizing that in our high-tech, screen-obsessed worlds, a lot of us have no clue. So to me, and it's probably beyond our existing technology, but to me, it would be great to have a big sign there that says, assuming sunset for a minute, sunset today is 8:17 p.m. or whatever. I mean, it's really, in a lot of ways, is more helpful to students, people to know 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever park closes, because then they can look at a watch and plan. It's a lot more sophisticated reasoning, and I know enough of my students couldn't do it to actually look up weather dot for that. So I'm just saying, is there something we can do a picture of when they need to be out of there?
yeah, I think communication, like Diana's saying and you're saying too, Clifford, whatever we can do to help with that communication, because what set me off, I guess, was the last time that Greg went out there, because it was I believe a husband and wife, and they had I think 3 kids, and the ages were like 11, 4 and 4 months or so. I'm talking like an infant, and 4 dogs. So they're going out and they're with that size of family and that young child. And I say, I mean, a 4-month-old child, I have a 4-month-old grandchild, so I know exactly that age. I'm like, that's probably not the brightest thing to do. So now Greg's got to go in there with his team, and you've got to rescue 5 people and 4 dogs at midnight. Well, it's actually 1 o'clock by the time a little after 1, they get out. So yeah, I mean, signage will help. We don't want sign litter, but that's why I'm kind of looking to you guys and say, you know,
I mean,
whatever you guys recommend, we'd like to implement.
I mean,
I
I
wanna-
want
You know,
The conversation I've had with Greg is from everyone that I've heard his stories of being lost, bad decisions, people knowing better and doing. And I think that's where I'm just going to shoot it straight because we count on y'all and to let us be straight and honest with y'all.
Mhm.
The biggest problem is people are making poor decisions and they know better. They go out
Yep.
there and they just do it. That's the fact of it. Well, on sugarcoat it. It's become a problem with people knowing what they're doing and knowing they should be doing. And they get out there and just be completely stupid. That's just being honest. And it's not that we're just somebody just made a mistake or something. It's becoming a really big issue of people making very terrible decisions, which they should know better and have enough common sense to realize you're in a park. If you go so long and you know it's about to get dark, you should turn around and go back. Don't keep on going to get to the park, to the waterfall. That's what's happening. It's not mistaken. Most of it is not mistaken stuff. It's stuff they're doing it intentionally and just thinking, well, we'll make it back in no time or whatever. It's not good decisions. That's what I'm hearing from Greg and the situation that I've seen. It's not poor decision. I mean, it is poor decisions and they know better and they know what they're doing. So there's no sugarcoating it. It's become a problem where people need to learn a lesson and they need to be taught a good lesson.
And then Greg,
and another thing too that I've noticed, even in like the backcountry in California and the Sierras, everybody's got cell phones and they've got emergency locators and they're like, oh, I'm lost, I can call. So I think that's part of the problem too. You know, in the old days, you used to be on your own, and if you got lost, that was your problem because you couldn't call anybody. And now you can just pick up and call 911. And so,
Yes.
Yeah.
you know, the push isn't there to be responsible because somebody will come get me and get me out of this pickle.
If you get lost, there's going to be a cost, something like that.
That's right.
Yes,
Just
that's
think
good.
about Greg having to do what he
That's
does.
good.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It
And
is a lot of work. It's a lot of work for these guys to go and search and find them, which takes away for a real emergency that we need the fire department to be available when real emergencies, not stupid decision on people not doing what they should be doing.
And the other thing is, dusk and dawn are very nebulous concepts. I mean, there are 3 dusks. I made a little study. There's civil dusk, nautical dusk, and astronomical dusk. So it depends how much light you have, you know, and each one's like 30 minutes later and stuff. But sunset, I'm sorry. If anybody can't look up on their phone what time sunset is, I can't help them. But anyway, so we should really maybe say 30 minutes after sunset, period.
I like it.
Like
like
that.
I like that a lot
Hey.
too. I think being able to know the clear time would be really helpful because I know I've been in cars, you know, but because I don't know, I honestly don't know what random moment it's going to be. So it'd be really helpful for people to know exactly, like, you got to be back by this minute.
30 minutes after sunset is when nautical dark starts. Yeah.
I definitely want to say for the PD part of this, I'm sure they don't go out there right when it gets a little dusk.
They don't.
I'm sure they go out there when it's pretty dark and you shouldn't be out there. I mean,
Correct.
just like I'm saying that I don't want us all to sit there and sugarcoat this. The police department are doing their part. They're going out there when it's pretty dark and you can't see and you shouldn't be in the park.
Correct.
Right,
So let's don't make it look 30 minutes before, 30 minutes after.
Yeah.
I'm trying to simplify this for all of us. There's an issue and we've done everything in our power to make it easy and convenient to fix this in a nice way. But it's getting to a point, like Robbie said, it's getting to a point where, you know, we've done our due diligence and it's time to do something different and that's not working. So 30 minutes before, 30 minutes after, this time 6 o'clock at dark when they go out there. That's when the PD is doing their part.
The big giant, almost 6 foot wide wooden posted sign at the corner there, which got knocked down, I think, it said park closes at dark. It didn't say sunset or 30 minutes. It says dark. And that typically is about 30 minutes after sunset. So
Yeah.
I think
Robbie, can I jump in and ask a question?
Yes, sir.
We talked about hiring the ranger to make sure we had boots on the ground and got this information across to the people. What time does she work? What days does she work? And what is there any way we can get information back from her, being again boots on the ground, and see what's going on in their opinion?
Yeah, she works Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sundays. There are times that she'll request a day off here and there because I mean every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every 4 days can be taxing on anybody because she works 10-hour days. But she usually is there around closing time, but not dark time. So she's not there like what Daryl's talking about. Let's say it gets dark at 8:30. The officers are not going to lock the place probably till 9:30. I mean, they give a lot of latitude in that regard. So she's not going to be there that late. She's going to be leaving right at dark. But to your point, Chip, I do want to eventually really seriously look into a ranger station, and it's not to make it a comfort setting for our ranger, but it would give what you guys are conveying. It would give it a basically a designated spot where people could go and get information, even if no one is there. It could be something on the side of that building. Hey, we're out. Ranger turned a sign, not here. We're out in the park. Reminder: park closes 30 minutes after dark. That kind of stuff. But that might help because people right now they have the kiosks to go to, and that's helpful. But the more communication, the better. And I'm not trying to, ban people from the park or anything, but like Daryl's saying, there's people that abuse it. And Greg has a duty to respond. His fire, and not just Greg, but public safety. If you get a call for help, you have to take that call. I kid with them when I say, look, if somebody's lost in the park, they'll find their way out by daylight. Just don't answer the call. If you don't answer the phone, you don't know that they're there. But like Pat's saying, look, they're going to call.
Robbie, this call is recorded.
I know.
Well, a lot of times, especially out west, when you go, well, even in Georgia on the mountains, you got a sign-in sheet. It's more manual. If you're going to be out on this park and this hike, sign in here. What time did you leave, so people can actually keep up with you. But I'm just really would like some feedback from her because she's been out there for a while on other things too, not just this.
Sure. Yes. Yeah, we're not going to make any decisions right now. We just want to not take up the whole meeting, just to let you guys know that this is increasingly becoming a problem. And when I find that my firefighters getting injured and they're out on workers' comp, or like Daryl's saying that they're in the park and okay, we got to get Palmetto to respond to a vehicle accident because we don't have any available personnel because there are 800 acres in the park. That's all. I just wanted to bring up.
I'll be out there grading the driveway at the nature center, and people will come through there, and you can tell they don't have experience. They're wearing tennis shoes. They're wearing clothes that obviously they're not used to being outdoors, and they're already lost when they come. Was that the green trail? Comes behind the nature center. Anyway, they don't know how to get. They're always coming through there, and they're panicking by that time. And that's another sign they don't really know what they're doing and want to know where the parking lot is. Of course, you got them back. So yeah, there's a lot of people just inexperienced. I think that just get caught out after dark making poor decisions.
It's a fun park. It's attractive nature, park.
So,
I mean, who would want to go?
So Robbie, I guess my question to you to close loop this conversation here is that I think we already know what the concerns are. What is your recommended solution? Is there one at this point in time, or is it just more of a FYI that you was bringing to the table here?
It's an FYI, but I want to incorporate what you guys were saying. Like Chip was saying, I'm gonna get with the park ranger and find out some more details. She works for the police department, even though she's a park ranger, because she has that direct contact with the police department in case she needs some sort of law enforcement assistance. I like the idea of the signage that we're talking about. As everybody's mentioned, we have signs already that say parks closed after dark. Anything, as a former law enforcement officer, you can't give somebody a parking ticket if they don't know that it's not a parking zone. So you can't issue somebody a citation or a criminal trespass from the park if they don't know that they are breaking the law. So that's the biggest thing that police officers need to have. They need to have the teeth. They need to have the signage in order to say, okay, you guys broke this law, so now you've got to pay the cost. You got lost, pay the cost. Taken Clifford was low on puns today, but that was still a good.
That
That counts
was
as
good.
that counts.
I mean, you know, I think we could
Well, we can even
consider
say if you drive
putting-
into the park after dark and you get lost, there's a cost. There we go.
I think we could consider putting
Sorry, go ahead.
something on our application where they're applying for a parking pass, you know, and make them check, they acknowledge that, you know, if their car is in the park after dark, they will receive a ticket. There may be other
That's a
things
good
that
idea.
are so important that we need to emphasize. I remember, you know, back when we were all required to wear face masks on an airplane, you couldn't buy a ticket without checking 2 or 3 times that you realized you had to wear a mask and agreeing that you would wear a mask. And so maybe we make them acknowledge that they know a few of the rules if they're going to buy a pass. I know that doesn't solve it for the people who are just there with day passes, but it, you know,
It helps.
would help. Yeah.
Robbie,
I like-
And the
is
good
that
thing
is that
if the
kiosk?
police will continue to issue those tickets because word will get out, you know, that they're serious about this. And then people will make more of an effort to get back before dark.
I think also
Robbie, is that
hunters know that, you know, when you have a hunting license, at least in Pennsylvania, the times, it's something like 30 minutes before sunrise or 30 minutes after sunset. So it's not just in the park where this concept of tying it to sunset and sunset, sunrise and sunset are applicable, so.
Robbie, is that kiosk programmable enough to get a display, a message on the display, or even the tickets it prints out?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
It is not.
Okay.
But that's
So
a good
much for that
place.
idea. I didn't
That's
think it
still-
was.
That's a good place for additional signage, though. I mean, on the kiosk, put something
Yeah.
on there. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
what
they gotta
people
come there.
they have to come there to see it. So we'll work on it. We'll get some better communication. I just wanted to throw that out there because I worry about everybody and our public safety professionals, and I need them to be strong and healthy.
Thank you, Robbie.
Yes, ma'am.
So the next item is Cochrane Mill Park parking. And, you know, we've got this new parking lot at the cell tower. And I think we don't know yet how many parking spaces we'll have there, but there's been discussion about how do we manage that? And it will be up to the council to decide how is that going to be done. But I thought it might be good if we just talked about it. Some people have said, well, there's not a kiosk there on that side. And so maybe it should be just for people who already have a parking pass. So I'm wondering, is that a good idea? Or do you have other ideas about how we could manage that new parking area?
I would like to make the recommendation to y'all, if you don't mind.
Please
It'll
do.
make it for all of us. And of course, y'all discuss it. The thing, what we should do is that parking area should be for people that have a annual pass only. Makes it easy because it's so far away from the kiosk, or we can buy another kiosk, and which will in time, if it grows, we should put another kiosk in there. But what we should do is put that in it, be in an area, and put a sign, if annual passes parking only, and make it so simple. People pull in there, they don't have to go over to the where the kiosk is sitting, and we'll put signage up. And I don't want to create more work for Dana. And as in saying, you had to buy a special pass to work in, park in that area. And that's just more of the stuff that she'll have to do. So if we have just make a sign, regular parking on one side and annual pass parking only on this new parking lot, we're getting close to finishing that up. So we're going to have a good many places to park there. But that was my recommendation. If I hope that y'all take that into consideration.
I love that idea, actually.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's a chance to provide a little perk as well.
Yeah.
Another little extra incentive that might boost the number of annual pass holders we get. I mean, I would think twice. Hey, it's going to be busy on a Saturday when I come. It's hard to find any parking. I can park right there if I have a pass. I think it'll do a world of good. It's
Yeah, I
a
love
lot
it.
lot better than buying another kiosk, which to me is a huge expense.
It
We
is.
could offer it as a perk instead.
We can.
Yeah.
I can talk to.
So Gerald, to be clear, people with the passes could also use the other parking lot if they wanted to. Is that
Of course.
correct?
Yes, ma'am. And what we'll do is when we decide this, what we're going to do, I'll talk with Jim, and he'll pass it on to the officers that go and do their checks every day to make sure. And of course, we always give people a little bit of I don't know, give them a little bit of time to get used to it. Cause I'm sure people go in there and they say park, they're gonna park, you know, what issue warnings and just kind of push it. And we'll pass on the information. And before we start ticketing people, that was the right. And also I've talked, Robbie and I and Dana, and we've all had this conversation about what we thought was gonna be good. And we're not gonna just start ticketing people as soon as the parking lot is open, but we're gonna push for that. It'll make it so much easier for everyone, I believe. And just having that for annual pass holders only.
I love it. I love
Hey,
it.
Daryl, I like that idea, but what's the, you mentioned another kiosk. Why can't we just put a sign over there saying walk across the street and use the kiosk?
Well, you can. I mean, of course you can. But we need to try to, if we do a park pass only, it just makes it easier. People come in and out. They don't have to walk so far to go to the kiosk. You can put a sign up, but then most of the time you're gonna have problem with people parking that far away. They're gonna have to walk all the way over there, walk up the hill to get a park pass. And you're going. I think that you're going
to come in there to hike anyway.
Yeah,
I understand, but some people just don't. You know, that's just my recommendation. You don't have to go with it or not. That's just a thought.
It's like getting the closest parking place to the gym so you can go in and work out. You know, I don't know. Just
most people go to Walmart to do that. They park in the parking lot closest to at Walmart, and they walk through Walmart the whole time. It's just nature of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like your idea though, Daryl. I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Or maybe what I'm thinking is maybe try it, start with just to see how it's going to match up, and you know, give it a few months and then review it and see if we've still got parking problems. Because some days I've been out there and people were really angry that they were parking in the horse parking lot, which I don't blame them.
That's
you know,
always been it.
It got kind of heated a few times.
Yep, that happened.
Yeah.
And if this don't work, we can buy. You know, there was a discussion buying another kiosk and putting over there. If this doesn't work and it becomes a problem, there's always another option. You know, this is not like we have to go through this rest of our life, but this is just a start. This is just a start.
So Danny, it's something that is this something that we're voting on right now, or this is more of a, is it something?
I don't think we're voting. We're just discussing.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
I mean, do we need a vote, Robbie? No. Okay, good. All right, the council will make the decision and Daryl can tell.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, yes.
And thought it was a good idea. Would that be accurate to say that the Parks Commission thinks that's a good idea? Is everybody, yes, thumbs up, a good idea?
Thank you.
All right, good. Then the next item is the community awareness education event. Roland's going to tell us about that.
Yeah, it's kind of a segue into Robbie's discussion. I am off mute. Yeah. I had made some notes. I just sent an email out to I copied everybody on that email that Diana sent out, so at least you have my notes for it. Just an idea. Me and Greg had discussed it, I believe, a year ago. He wanted to do this. He wanted to set aside a Saturday or possibly even an extra weekday afternoon to try to catch as many folks as possible to set up kind of a public safety event at Conquer Mill Park, you know, with a table, maybe tents, you know, giveaways like snacks and water and lots of info for people entering the park. And we would do it at the kiosk, right where people can see it, and then just give them this information that we've been talking about. Get as many people as you can, you know, and you know, be up front. The information on the trails, how far away the, you know, waterfalls are for your walk. You know, are you, you know, this is what you need to be dressed. You need water, things like that. And then I talked to Clifford. Clifford mentioned that it would be a cool idea to have the historical commission. They could have a table there and, you know, have information on the parks, you know, historical parts of our parks and city. You know, I asked Brett about MTBA, and they would be interested in having a table set up there for their info since they are heavily involved in the parks. And, you know, we could add the nature center if they want to have a table set up. So it could be more of a, you know, more of a park event, you know, on a Saturday. So that would get people kind of excited about the parks. And we have info about the other parks too, if we wanted. And then it would be great if we could get, you know, somebody, you know, anyone that would be interested from city council to show up, you know. I mean, it could just be, you know, just hang out in the park on a Saturday or even a Sunday. I mean, probably Saturday is more fitting. But
County
that's kind of,
commissioner too, they generally show up.
what now?
Hightower, I think it's a new one. County commissioner, I'll get it out. Been generally showing up every community event we've got. So
Oh, okay.
they're
So
always looking for those votes.
That's good.
Hightower is the new one.
that's a good
One
idea.
thing I would love to see happen and kind of.
Is this my volume? Clifford just breaking
No,
up.
his internet.
It's Clifford.
Okay.
Breaking up.
It's our internet connection in Chattahoochee Hills is what it is.
Clifford, just put it in
Roland said
chat.
it, and Roland and I talked about this too. Looking at what? How's the audio now? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Put
it's a
it
little
in
bit
chat.
better. I think you need to keep your video off. That's probably works.
Okay. Well, can you guys hear me now or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
better.
coming
Okay.
through.
Great.
That's better.
So the other thing that I was thinking long term, and this is way more than I want to get into tonight, but one other thing this event would do, hopefully, would be to begin to assemble a list of people, hopefully that get excited about the parks, as Roland said, and that would be interested in eventually being part of a Friends of the Parks. I would love to see one thing we're really struggling with right now. We're able to have all these incredible trails, basically thanks to Roland. I mean, there's the rest of others of us are involved, and there are other folks, but basically Roland is making a lot of the trails possible. He's out there every weekend clearing trees, mowing, you know, he's doing it all. You know, now we're adding more parks. I mean, unless we're going to add more Rolands. I mean, I know Roland, if you have a secret twin brother, but otherwise, I mean, and also 10, 15, 20 years from now, eventually we're going to need other people. We need a Friends of the Parks. As our parks grows, we need an organization that will provide the volunteer support. And I don't think there is one. So I think it'd be great to start to have a clipboard out there and start collecting names and emails and start getting the word out and trying to get a group together and you know, start and see where it goes. Because
Well,
I think
we
this
could
is
get a mailing list together then at the same time for this. That would be good. You know, people could sign up also for the city stuff too, Clifford, the city newsletter, you know, while they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. So do you think, I thought about a date coming soon because we don't want it, it's gonna, before it gets too cold. I mean, October's still great here. The 22nd, which is a Saturday, is that too soon? It's the weekend after the city's
September, October.
October.
Okay, yeah.
That's the weekend after the city's Ruby's event at City Hall, right? Isn't that the 15th or something?
Is that the 15th, the Harvest
15th.
Festival?
Yeah.
But is it at City Hall, at like behind City Hall?
Yes.
Okay.
In that green space right there.
I mean, it doesn't have to be some giant festival or anything. It'd just be like information, you know. And I was thinking, okay, maybe that Saturday would be good. I need to get in touch with Greg and see, because Greg's key to being there, because he's the one that really wanted to do that and just sit there and meet people, you know. So I don't know if anyone else in the city is interested in coming, you know. I mean, maybe, I don't know if
Well, I
there's
meet a lot of people when I go down there. I talk to everybody that comes through the parking lot. And when they get lost and come through the nature center, it's fun finding out where people are from. You wouldn't believe the number of people it's the first time they've been there. Well, I think we're getting a lot of those.
yeah, we do.
But I think being out there and talking to people, I think is the best way we can get feedback too on the decisions that we have to make on the park. I was out there Sunday and I saw a group of people turning cartwheels on the rock, and I said, I ought to go down there and talk to them and see how they got back this far, and you know, a little bit about them. And I said, no, they need their privacy here. And then suddenly somebody said, Chip, and it was Chris out there with his family.
I love it.
Well, if you guys
one question
No, Clifford, no.
Question is this, what about parking? I'm trying to, okay, never mind. You guys can't hear me?
Now we
Yeah, we
can.
can hear you now. It comes
My
and goes.
question- well, I'm sorry, it's the internet here. I desperately need internet. I'm like, oh boy, won't get started on that.
Yeah,
My
let's
only
don't-
question and concern is this for Saturday. How do we handle the fact that the parking lot already fills with bicyclers in the morning? Where are people going to park? Not only the folks that are tabling, but where are people coming to the event going to park? Do we have enough parking? And what can we do about?
Well, hopefully the other parking lot will be all set by
point.
then, right, Daryl? 22nd.
I can't tell you for sure. I cannot tell you for sure. There's a lot that still needs to happen there.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
We
I don't
just,
know. Okay.
I think you're probably overthinking. We just treat it like any other Saturday that we have an event there.
But
I mean,
we don't usually.
I'm sorry, what's that?
But we don't usually have formal
No, I'm
events.
saying I'm saying we have had an event there before. Whenever, it may not be on a regular basis.
At Cochrane
Whatever
Mill.
parking accommodation has been, yes, whatever those parking accommodation has been, we just continue to keep implementing that,
But,
I mean, you
but
can't
isn't
can't
the
regulate-
parking at Cochrane Mill always scarce? I mean,
Yeah.
on Saturdays and
Starts
Sundays.
around noon. It usually starts around noon on Saturdays. The early people on Saturdays are the bikers, the long haul pavement riders. They park there and that ride the loop, the silk sheets. And the gravel riders usually park at New Hope Methodist Church. So when we've had events there in the past where we set up tables, which we have, we use that section, the deep part only. We set up right there next to the kiosk where that little section is. It's deep, and we stretch across that. And the people what we've done in the past is the people that show up for that park their cars behind it first, and the tents or tables are in front of their cars. So it doesn't take up any extra parking.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what we did before. I don't know if Diana, you remember, we did something there where we did that. We had several tables set up.
I do
Everybody
remember
parked
that,
behind
yeah.
them. Yeah.
So does that date work for everybody? October 22nd? Actually, I know I'm going to be out of town, but are y'all going to be available to help with
You
it?
have to be there. So
I can't be there October 22nd.
why don't we can shift the date further out. I mean, it's Halloween the next weekend, right?
Right.
Yeah, we don't want to do that on Halloween. Well, I mean, a lot of
Have you
people.
spoken to these vendors that you're referring to? Have they?
I think I'm gonna be out of town too.
Oh, you are too?
And then after Halloween is Porch Fest at Serenby.
Yeah, it's the weekend after that. Yeah. Maybe the 22nd is, I mean, yeah, I've already talked to, I talked to Sorba or MTBA. I talked to Brett and Pete. I have not talked to Greg about a date. I haven't talked to the Nature Center or the Historical Commission, but I mean, they have a lot of members like us. So any one of them, if wants to set up, could be able to set up, right? So, I mean, I'll send some feelers out next week if you want and see if anybody's interested in that date, who can make it, first things
Good.
first with Greg. And then if
Yes.
that date's not good, we can push it to the second weekend in November, unless it's snowing, so. Like I said,
It might be good to have a second one in the spring.
Yes, in fact, we even thought about doing one in the middle of the week, in an afternoon, like 3 o'clock or something, to catch people that come in the week, and show up late in the day. So,
Okay.
Well,
well,
I'm gonna be out on the 24th, so I've got my dates wrong. 24th is when I'm gonna be out of town.
okay. I'll send you an email if you can ask Norma about if they are interested in that. Just stopping by, hanging out.
I can assist out that morning, Roland, if it's gonna be the 22nd
Yeah.
morning. I can assist that morning.
Yeah, I'm thinking 9 o'clock,
Yes.
no,
I can
Yeah.
assist that morning.
yeah. So, and we could always.
Hey, what Roland just it went over pretty well. Is the reason I'm asking. Of course, it takes up room too. What about a food truck up there?
Well, it adds a whole nother dimension to
And I think from events we've done in the past, the food trucks want to guarantee that they're going to make a certain amount of money. And I don't know that we can guarantee that.
Yeah, I just stick to
It would be
probably,
cool. I mean, I think if we did it on a regular basis, and people knew they could come for food, maybe it would work, but just once, I'm not sure.
yeah, maybe we could just, this time, maybe we'll just, I
Okay.
was thinking about just buying a bunch of fruit and snacks and water and things like that, and just, having.
Oh,
them
that's right. You were talking about giving away. Okay, yeah. Just
Yeah.
to make sure draw more people is the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and Diana, I got one more thing. This coming Sunday is another. It's almost like an ad hoc sweep the hooch to Campbellton Park. I had already communicated with Daryl and Robbie about I'm going to take the trash to City Hall on Monday. So if you guys need to and know about that coming up, it came up really quick. So it's Riverkeeper. So it's a cleanup. I think it's short.
I think Tammy called it a private event. I don't know who it is, but I don't think they're inviting.
Yeah, and I volunteered to help with the trash. So
thank you, Roland.
yeah, I just told her because it wasn't big enough to get a dumpster, and I said, well, I'll just do I'll pick the trash up in my truck, and and if I couldn't do it at City Hall, I can go to Douglas County, but since Daryl said they let us put it in the dumpster, that'd be great. Since we are picking up city along the city on the hooch. So.
All right, thank you, Roland, for doing that. All right, we have no items for consideration. Next is commission member comments and suggestions. Anyone have a comment or suggestions?
I've got another question. Just thought I've not just thought about it, but it's a good opportunity. Have you guys ever done anything or thought about doing any kind of events like around Christmas or really any event, I guess, around the old Campbellton Square? There's plenty of room up there for vendors. Is there enough parking? I don't know. We got boat ramp down there. We got the church across the street. Just an idea.
I think there's an event coming up that Lori Searle is working on, a historic event in October. And I don't have the details. Does anybody know about that?
No.
Pat, you're muted.
Pat, you're on mute.
Talking, yes, wildly. It's October 16th. It's called a fall ramble from 10 to 2. And it includes the Beaver's House and Wilkerson Mill.
Mm.
And I offered to help at the mill.
Very
So-
cool. And
Is
it's
that the mill that's on
Georgia.
private property?
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that the mill
Dean.
that's on private property?
Yes.
Yeah, I've
Yes.
been back there. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Liz
Pat, who is sponsoring that? I don't remember.
Oh, gosh. I'd have to go back and look in
It's
my
like the
email.
State Historic Society or something like that.
It's definitely not hiking in parks. It's definitely historic.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was, it was just as a private citizen. It's not anything official with the city or like that. I think Lori was just asking as a friend,
Any other
Yeah, I
commission
guess
member
Campbellton
comment?
would be more of historical. We just happen to have a park there. It'd be more historical. I guess people would be interested in that nature.
Well, specifically the Beaver's
Diane, I'm sorry,
House.
interrupt you.
The Beaver's
Yeah.
House.
Yeah, we did the Ghost of Chat. What was it? The Ghost of Chat Hills thing there that first year.
Right.
So we did do
That was
something
a-
big
that was
historical
amazing.
event.
Yeah.
It was a big event. I don't know if you recall it, but
Well, we could draw on more people because we're right there on the edge of city of South Fulton. That traffic is pretty heavy around Charlie's there too. But just an idea, probably something in the future.
Any other comments?
Mm-mm.
I would just like to thank the Parks Commission for coming to other city meetings. We've never had that very much before, and it's so good to see y'all come into city council and city council work sessions, and I think it's really important. And I know some of you are watching on Zoom if you can't come in person, and I'm just so proud of our Parks Commission. I think y'all
we
are
all want to see all of our city peeps. So
It's turned into a social event after the meeting is over. It's kind of fun.
All right. So staff reports, Dana.
All right. I think this is the first report for the parking revenue for this fiscal year, because I think at the last meeting we had, I reported on the previous year,
Correct.
fiscal year. So since July 1st, we have had $1,333 for annual parking passes, and about 15,900 dollars in daily parking fees, which brings a total parking fee revenue since July 1st to $17,264. We've had a couple of small primitive camping reservations, and that's at $25. And we've distributed for the 2022 parking decals for all calendar year, 546 resident and 612 non-resident, for a total of 1,158 parking decals. I am working with Daryl and Diana on ordering the 2023 parking decals. When those come in, we usually try to time it if we've got an election, which there is a state election. Fulton County will be holding an election this year at City Hall the 1st of November. So we try to have the next year's decals ready to start distributing then, and we should have them in plenty of time.
Good,
Can you
Dana.
make them pink
Thank
this
you.
year? Yeah, make them pink, magenta.
We need to pick a color. They sent us the where we order them. They sent the colors that we've ordered in the past, but we can pick just about any color. I think they can do. So
We've never used pink.
yeah, we can go. I can ask.
Do we want to do pink?
Yeah, see this pink band.
Yeah,
Oh, a
I
bright
will
pink.
ask for pink, and we'll.
Thank
we'll
you,
go from
Dana.
there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
Only to stand out.
I
So
don't
that
know
means we
why
could
I
have
didn't think of that.
we could have 1,000 people parking in that new parking lot.
Right. We could.
All right, Daryl.
Well, everything that I had to talk about has already been talked about. Nothing else
Thank
to-
you.
nothing
Thank
else to
you.
talk about.
Thank you for all that you do and your
Thank-
staff.
Thank you for y'all.
Roads are in great shape. I've been riding those gravel roads and they look wonderful. Thank you
Yeah,
so
they
much.
do look
And,
great.
and it's amazing what you're doing. The roadsides. I mean, you not only cut the grass, you get out there with weed eaters and cut around mailboxes and
Yeah, you
fences.
cut around my
That's
mailbox. I saw
incredible.
it.
That who else does that? I don't think any other city does that.
Come look at my road. You'd be glad. My road is horrible.
Well, thank you.
Thank y'all.
So-
Hey,
Oh,
right.
Daryl,
one
I'm
thing
gonna
for
wonder
Daryl.
if I need a little trim around my mailbox.
Okay. I'll put you on list, my friend.
Daryl, I got one last comment for you. Last year, when I marked off back on when you guys mow Hudson Ferry, and I marked off where that turtle was laying eggs right in the middle of the field there, and you avoided her. She hatched all her eggs about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, good.
Aw.
Yeah, I saw them all
Cool.
spread out on the ground, and they all went back to the lake. So just-
Awesome. Good. Good
Yeah.
to hear. To hear.
Wow. How cool. All right. Thank you, everybody. We did pretty well.
we made it. Clifford made his meeting. So
Clifford's
Cool.
gone. He put
Oh,
a
he's
He's
note.
gone.
going. He really did go.
He
Okay.
said deuces. I'm out.
Oh, we have to adjourn. Sorry. All right. Can I get a motion and a second to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
I second it.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Hey,
nay. All right. We are adjourned. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
all right, guys. Good to see you. We'll see you.